Special, episode 2 of the week. Today should be December 26th. And, okay. So I said that, excuse me, I would talk about Syria. Not what you eat for breakfast, cereal. I mean, Syria, the country. Syria. Trump is pulling out of Syria and Afghanistan. All right. What do I think of this? All right. Let's talk Crimea for just a moment. Russia is relevant. Now, Crimea was always part of Russia. It wasn't Ukraine, it was part of Russia. Khrushchev, was 1950s, Khrushchev just up and decided that he was going to give Crimea to the Ukraine. Just up here, this is you. But it was all, I do believe that it was all Russia anyway. Like, it didn't really change anything. All right, so, I mean, you know, this is kind of like the Upper Peninsula and Michigan and Wisconsin, you know, kind of, but a little bit more dramatic and not as long and drawn out. So, Crimea was given away. They didn't have a choice. They were just told, you will be in Ukraine now. So, all right. So, okay. Wait. George, why was I talking about Crimea? Okay, all right, Crimea. Taiwan. Taiwan is not in the same situation as Crimea was in. See, Taiwan is more like the Pilgrims and the American colonies trying to get away from England. All these people came to Taiwan. There were the Hakka people, and they were like an early wave. And then there was the Taiwanese people who left China to get away to Taiwan. They wanted to get away from that imperial disaster on the mainland. And that's kind of how they've always been. Well, when the Communist Revolution happened, the government just fled and ran over to Taiwan and kind of officiated everything. Okay. Well, Crimea goes back to Russia. Now, we really didn't need to interfere with it. Obama was being a complete doofus to complain about it. The correct answer would have been Russian soldiers went into Crimea first and flew the flag before there was a referendum. Russia, that's the wrong order of events. You didn't follow rules, so we're sending tanks a little bit close to your border to watch you a little bit more because you didn't follow procedure. But, all right, bygones are bygones. You had a referendum, and Crimea was historically part of Russia anyway, so, all right, there you go. Okay, that's what he should have said. Now, I have a friend over here who's Czech who explained this to me. Not that opinion particularly, but he just explained to me the history of Khrushchev and that Crimea was always part of Russia. Okay, I met a girl from Ukraine. Of course, she said that Ukraine should, own Crimea, but that's somewhat natural. People, they don't want to let it go. Okay, all right. I suppose I could be wrong, but this is what I understand. Now, Syria. What the heck are we doing in Syria? Look, I'd understand if, we were in like Israel, or if England was being invaded and we had soldiers there. I understand taking France away from Hitler. I understand that. Iraq, we shouldn't be there, but we are. So I understand that. But what the heck are we doing in Syria? And we were dealing with Obama doing his mamby-pamby-pansy, fish slapping it's F-I-S-H, fish slapping at ISIS, not getting anything done, leaving all the fancy rockets and grenade launchers or whatever, and the trucks and the armored vehicles all still in their bubble wrap, leaving them there in Iraq and going home, and ISIS just walks in, boom, instant military equipment. Because Obama was doing his nonsense. Russia comes in, and Putin just goes in after ISIS and regulates. Okay, so why do we need to be in Syria? Syria are really great friends with Russia. Okay, all right, okay. So Assad or whatever is some terrible, horrible person who's using chemical weapons. All right, well, get the UN in there. If the UN's worth their salt, they should send people in there. The U.S. does not need to be in Syria. If the goal is to defeat ISIS, then Russia can do that. If we're talking chemical weapons and war crimes, then go to international courts and do stuff that way. Don't just put a bunch of troops over there and mess with stuff. Russia should be bothered by us being there. What the heck are we doing over there? Okay, all right. Now, having said that, we've got these diplomats that came into office. We're in Syria, and we had these, for years or however long, the ambassadors or envoys or whatever, we're talking to people. No, America's here. We support this. We're doing our work. We're going to be here to help. And they believe this, and they've been talking like it, and they've been supporting it, and they believe the products that they're selling, so to speak. And they had the backing of the American government. Now, all of a sudden, Trump's pulling out. Well, that goes against everything those diplomats were saying and believed in. So, of course, you're going to resign. Of course, you're going to be frustrated. Those diplomats are not bad people. They weren't necessarily wrong in the beginning. America was there helping people. They were there to represent America to people that we were helping. So I don't see, I kind of feel like Mark Antony. I came to bury Caesar, not to praise him. I agree with Trump's position. We should not be in Syria. But I also understand what these ambassadors are saying. And I understand Mattis resigning. I get that. Now, I don't think that pulling out of Syria and Afghanistan, same thing for the most part. Okay, we've done a lot of stuff in Afghanistan. Trump's right. It was going to be 3 months. It's been 10 years. When is the 3 months over with? Look, if you're going to do a military operation, say we'll be out in 3 months, you got to be out in 3 months. You can't, the military needs to be held accountable to the numbers that they promise. Don't give estimates you can't keep. And we have made a difference in Afghanistan, if it's what our goal is. And if there's a bigger problem, that's Russia's backyard, and they should go in and pick up the slack and fight the bad guys anyway. Because I think that the bad guys in Syria and Afghanistan are the same bad guys as far as the U.S. and Russia are concerned, right? Okay. I don't think Russia pulling out of Afghanistan and Syria, and we still got soldiers going to stay in Afghanistan. It's just going to be half. I don't think that it's really about Syria and Afghanistan. Yeah, listen, I don't want FBI. Look, if FBI tries to call me, screw you guys. If FBI is going to call me, you better have my lawyer that you've hired talk to me instead, because all this stuff with look up Jerome Corsi. I don't think FBI is going to call me because I think that they know they wouldn't go anywhere. Corsi was just putting together stuff that he knew, and FBI decided that he had spies because there's no way he could come to the conclusions he's coming to without spies, right? Okay, so they just assumed that, and they actually mocked him and said, "So God told you this?" And Jerome Corsi is a Christian. Like, he believes Jesus. He says, "I believe in Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior, and that's between me and him. But no, I don't have spies. And no, I'm not saying that God just up and told me this. I've got people, and this makes sense to me." And so he decided stuff was happening in the world, and apparently it really was, and FBI was going to go attack him. And Jerome Corsi is this old, like in his 70s, is looking at jail time. He doesn't have so, as he says, doesn't have so much as a parking ticket on his record anywhere. And the FBI talks to him, and all of a sudden he's a criminal. This is entrapment stuff. The FBI, hey, we just want to talk. Right, and they show up and just ask you questions until they can come up with some lame excuse as to why you contradicted yourself, and then you go to jail. Look, this is Sacha Baron Cohen in the movie Borat. He can't do that again because once you play the practical joke on the world, they all know who you are and you can't play the joke again. So good luck, FBI, trying to get anybody's attention. And that whole iPhone Apple drama thing with James Comey, my goodness, asking for what he was asking for, all he proved to me was that the FBI doesn't know how to use a mouse. So you don't ask for what James Comey wanted with his backdoor stuff into an iPhone. You don't do that if you've taken even one scratch programming class for 10-year-olds. You don't ask for that. You don't ask for that. So I hope the FBI does a bunch of work, but I don't know if they're going to say, Jesse, who are your spies? Look, this is public information. I wasn't born yesterday, and I don't have access to any secret information that everybody else doesn't have access to. Who is China's biggest ally? If you know where I'm going with this. Who's China's biggest ally? The Russians. The Ruskies, as we affectionately call them. Look, I'm sorry. Talking about Russia kind of takes me back to Star Trek 4, where Walter Koenig, who plays Chekhov, is on the street, and I think it was it San Francisco or Los Angeles? It was in California, and they're trying to find energy for their starship, and they're on the street, and we are looking for nuclear vessels, and it's like the 1980s, It's like in the police hours, and they're just walking to people on the street. We are looking for nuclear vessels. Where are the nuclear vessels? And so it's like middle of Cold War, and that was just really tough. Okay, so there. Okay, I'm an 80s kid. # So, all right. Who's China's biggest ally? Russia. Ah, yes. Okay. If China invades Taiwan and the U.S. follows its own law on the books to defend Taiwan, what big, huge, enormous country that's a formidable adversary against the United States is going to come along and help China? Which country? The same big country, Russia, that doesn't want us in its backyard in countries like Syria and what else could it be? Afghanistan. Now I don't think Trump is pulling out of Syria and Afghanistan solely because of Syria and Afghanistan. If he is, then he's an idiot. I've got more speculation, but I'm not going to speculate. I think Trump, frankly, even without China, Trump should get out of those countries just to get along well with Russia. The people and what the heck is it with these military-aged men fleeing their own countries? Goodness, act like you deserve the facial hair that you've got and stay in your country and fight the bad guys. Don't run away with somebody else's baby or however that works. There's, pardon me, but you destroy these immigrants carrying babies that aren't even their own. So I just... every one of those Syrian refugees should have been sent back and told to defend their own countries from the problems at home. They're not running from political persecution. They're running away from an opportunity to make their own countries well. Sorry, but you don't see the American conservatives wanting to run away to Canada. You see the liberals doing that. The real patriots, real people that care about their country are going to stay home and deal with the conflicts. And look, if you've got a bunch of liberal people, a bunch of Bernie supporters, and they don't want to leave Canada, but they want to leave to Canada. If they want to stay in America and hash out their disagreement with the conservatives, great. Stay home. That's a good thing. If you really believe what you believe, you should stand your ground in your country at home and not run away and try to go to somebody else's country. So, what the heck is this? A lot of those Syrian refugees probably left because of us messing with stuff. So, all right, I suppose I understand that. So maybe being in Syria caused the Syrian refugee crisis in the first place? We should get out of there. But there's more going on here than just Syria and Afghanistan, folks. Pulling out of Syria and Afghanistan is going to make it so that Russia can't do all-out war against the United States if the U.S. defends Taiwan against an attack from China. And if the U.S. goes down to those little man-made islands, the Gibraltar Islands, where China is trying to use as an excuse to control the whole ocean thoroughfare there, Russia would still be in a bad position to go against the United States if we pull out of Syria and Afghanistan. See, Russia has to kind of, in this swelling conflict, whatever it is with China, whatever it's going to be, if it's going to be a war of pens or a war of guns, or both, probably, whatever this conflict is coming between the U.S. and China, Russia's not going to be helping China so much if Russia is grateful that we've stopped messing in their backyard. So if Syria is bad, it's Russia's responsibility. I'm sorry, but America starting a war in every country of the world in order to bring peace to people that don't want to make it themselves is not the solution to peace. People have to want it and have to want to fight for it themselves. Americans fought for their own peace. Nobody else came and fought for ours, except, of course, the French came and delivered the coup de grace to Britain at the very end. But, maybe that's so that the French could say, yes, you Americans did not win your own revolution. We French came and help you. Okay, so I suppose, Pepe Le Pew, the Frenchman, and Jesse, signing out. That's what I think about Syria. I think Syria is more than about Syria. And, we should pull out, but there's also a Russia factor here. And it just doesn't take a genius to figure out who the allies are of what. I mean, I thought about pulling out of Syria. That's the first thing I thought. I go, well, Russia's going to like that. Because I always wondered, what is it? What is it? What's the big, fat, hairy danger if China and the United States end up going head to head? It's Russia. So how are we going to deal with that? How's Trump going to get that one off the table so we can actually talk to China and say, China, you got to listen, because see what's been happening is China's been getting these big heads. Oh, well, Russia's got our backs. The Chinese are probably thinking. So we can tell Trump whatever he wants. Well, if all of a sudden Trump pulls out of Syria and says, okay, Russia, have at it. Have it, Assad's your friend. Deal with it yourself. We'll get out of your backyard. We'll stay in Afghanistan to hold on the fort, but not to be a threat to you guys. Okay, we're there to keep the peace. We'll work with you. He pulls out of those places. China might not count so much on Russia having their backs. Although I don't know if the Chinese are going to figure out how all that works. We'll talk about that more when we get to Huawei tomorrow.